How's it going?
Avery has such a great voice to start the podcast. Like, how's it going? How you doing? What's up? I love
I
it.
think we usually all do, but you guys seem a little down this morning, a little tired.
I'm tired, but I'm still kind of like pretty hyped right now. I'm not gonna lie. Like, I can't stop thinking about it.
Nnamdi, how are you feeling?
I'm good. Honestly,
Yeah.
I'm great, guys. We had a long night yesterday.
Why did you
Great
guys have a
show.
long night?
We did a review of one particular artist a couple weeks ago, Isaiah Rashad, The House is Burning. And, we ended up going to the show, me, Nnamdi, Alex, and Chanel, who were guests on that review. Avery wasn't there. And we ended up going to the show in Silver Springs.
I think we teased it during that episode that
We
were going
did.
to the concert.
We did.
My voice
All of
also
us.
may be like almost out because
Yeah. So,
I can't talk the way I normally do.
yeah. So we went to Isaiah Rashad, and it was freaking great. Childish Major and Bravon, who was a new TD signing, were openers, and Isaiah Rashad did his thing.
And the wildest thing about that show is like everybody in the crowd was lit. Like it was such a hype show from the beginning to the end. We were in Silver Springs, Maryland, so it doesn't jump to mind when you think of like cities that are gonna go crazy for like TDE. But it was a really good show. He performed almost the entire album.
Yeah, he performed most of the album.
What was the
Yeah.
best song? What was your favorite song that you heard from him last night?
Oh my.
I feel like at the very end when he finally performed, like Lay With You was I think the last song
Lay
he
With You.
performed, and
Lay
like
With You.
I think everyone had just been waiting for it. And I even knew. I think during a review I said like this is the song that when he performs it live, everyone's gonna be hyped.
Mhm.
And that's what happened. He performed it live, and literally everyone. Come on, I haven't moshed in a minute, like mosh pitting, whatever the verb is for that. So
Moshing.
that, I'm a big dude. Like listeners, man, I know this. I'm tall, and the way I was getting thrown around in that mosh pit,
Yo, me and Nnamdi, we had a pretty great time we had a great moshing experience.
but Noah was definitely the main character.
No, me and Nnamdi
I
were
was
both
like
the main
the
characters.
recurring role. I was the Molly. He was the Issa.
You're the best friend.
No, we ain't gonna do that.
No, Noah
But,
was hype at that show.
We ain't gonna do that, but I respect
love
the
it.
people. Like, I would jump for a couple seconds and be like out of breath, like leaning, like hanging on Nnamdi, and people would still be jumping. Like, a lot of respect to those people, but it was a great show, so I'm really happy I did. That's like another checklist, like
Noah was calling me. Hold on. Let me
of
see.
artists I want to go. Alex Asifa, who was at the show.
I know. Wait, but y'all, I'll text him. But is there any other highlights from the show that we want to share? I wish we could like do concert reviews. I don't know what that would look
Do you
like.
guys want to rate it? Do you want to give it a score out of 10?
I don't want to because I feel like concerts would almost be more hard.
It's
than
so
albums
different.
because
Yeah.
everyone performs. Like this is a rap show, so I can't say like, oh, the visuals were insane.
say, like,
but just
based
like
on what
that
you guys-
atmosphere.
Based on what y'all texted me last night, I'm just gonna like say you guys are gonna give it a 10 out of 10 because it sounds like you had an amazing time.
I'm gonna give it a 9 because at the beginning it was kind of rough because people were rowdy, we were pushing stuff like that, like people were falling over. It was kind of tough.
Okay.
So I'm gonna give it a 9. You know what I'm saying? Because it wasn't like, oh my gosh, it was smooth the whole night. Like everything was
Right.
like at the beginning it was a little rough because I was hyped, but it was too much. But then when later on it got better, so I'm gonna give it a 9 for now.
That's good.
So
Well, that's
I'm
good.
a-
I know.
I'm an easy grader when it comes to these shows.
See, and I'm gonna give it. I feel like a 9 is one. I think just the fact that this is the first show since the pandemic, that's gonna do something. Which let me say, everyone was vaccinated. They made you come with a vaccination card. They checked where you could get in. If you didn't have one, you had to do a rapid test. So I will say, even though it was very much so a packed show, I didn't feel super anxious because I didn't know everyone was vaccinated, which was nice.
Yeah, that was good.
Good.
So,
Concerts
yeah.
are back.
They're back.
That's exciting. I'm happy for y'all.
Yeah. So,
But I mean, I guess we have to do a concert review next time all 3 of us or at least 2 of us go to a show. I think we should do a formal review. I don't know what that would look like, but that seems cool.
that would
That'd
be
be
cool.
fun.
Barty Strange.
Barty Strange? Oh, maybe he's coming to New York. Shout out Barty Strange.
He's been performing.
He just did Pitchfork Fest, I think,
He
yesterday.
did that Pitchfork Fest in Chicago. Yep. So
Dang.
But
that dude.
okay, in the meantime, welcome to the 97 Demo Podcast, where we give you the latest in music news and a whole bunch along the way. I am one of your 3 hosts, Nnamdi Egwanwu, joined by
Noah.
Avery.
All right, Noah McGee, Avery DeLaw, thank you for joining me today. And I guess let's start with headlines. We have a couple of big ones. You know, guys, I didn't add this to the list, but I want to talk about R. Kelly. It may not be today, but one of our either next week or sometime we need to talk about that trial, because I think one of the biggest like miscarriages of the music industry circa justice is the fact that like that trial's happening, and because it's close to the media, no one's talking about it. So at some point, we're gonna give everyone Google that trial to see what R. Kelly's been accused of doing. But you know.
Yeah.
Here's a better court case. Britney Spears' father officially was filed to end her conservatorship, which was kind of surprising just because of what this whole saga has looked like so far. I guess she's been in this conservatorship for 13 years. At the time, it was because she sort of went through that public breakdown, and it was supposed to be for her own good. But conservatorships are typically for people who are like mentally incapacitated, like older people who can't take care of themselves. So the fact that Britney Spears was in this conservatorship for so long, it did kind of raise eyebrows. And yeah, last month he said he would eventually step aside from overseeing her finances, because the conservatorship is split into two roles, the financial aspect and then like the person aspect. He already wasn't managing her person. So he said last month he's willing to step away from the finances part of the job. And I guess he just fast forwarded to that. Now he just wants to end the conservatorship. So a win for the Free Britney fans.
For sure, yeah. I mean, I guess, yeah. I mean, it's just a good thing that just is, because it's really unfortunate what's been going on with her. Because like, I know the Free Britney thing is like, some people are like, oh my gosh, like, is it that big of a deal? Like, there's more important things going on in the world or whatnot. But you know, I don't think what she's going through is like, you know, not genuine. You know what I'm saying? So
what's interesting is that I don't think, and it says right here, that Britney herself never filed to end the conservatorship. She just wanted her father removed as a conservator.
Oh, that's interesting.
Avery, let me tell you why that's like really interesting. And this is sort of, it's not even a take, it's just something that I feel often gets left out of this conversation. I often worry that because the public got so rabidly behind us just ending this conservatorship and Free Britney, how much steam that movement took on. You know, Britney has written in some of her Instagram posts saying like, you know, I don't even like him. The New York Times did that documentary, Let My Life Be My Life. There's so much you all don't know, that sort of thing. And sometimes I wonder, I'm like, you know, she was never really asking to end it. She just wanted to remove her dad from it.
It might just be a case of like she, you know, just wanted a different person to help her.
That's exactly
her
what
life.
I think. So now I do wonder if this is gonna like end, since he's filing to end the whole conservatorship. You know, I'm just hoping that's in her best interest. Of course, I agree. Anything, but I'm just hoping that this works out definitely for the better, since I do think there's a lot we don't know on this side of things.
Yeah, but definitely a big step in this, where it felt like last month when he said that he was gonna eventually, you know, I'm quoting him, step down, felt like baby steps. So this feels like a really big step. So we'll see.
Agreed.
I'm sure there will be more news to come.
Agreed.
Oh, this is I guess a funner story. Avery, are you the one who dropped this in? Was you pitch?
Yeah, Kendrick Lamar apparently registered a handful of new songs with ASCAP. And, you know, obviously speculation is ramping up that Kendrick is to drop at some point this year. He just showed up on a few songs on the Baby Keem album that came out this past Friday. Yeah,
we'll get to shortly. We'll talk about those songs.
There's some, you know, some of the titles here, like Before the Hangman's Noose, Comfortable, Director, Fighter, Thief in the Night, Fade to Black, Erica Kane, End of the Line. Just like these song titles just get me hyped.
These are some up papers, and poets. He spells papers with a U. Paupers. Paupers. I don't even know what that means. What's that even mean, bro?
I don't even know.
Isn't a pauper like a poet? Isn't it like a?
I think so, right?
Really?
I feel like
we Google this as a family.
Yeah, exactly.
Okay. Oh, a very poor person, which I guess is kind of like a poet most of the time.
Interesting. That gets me hyped because those are great albums. Track names. You know what I'm saying? So, man,
this is really interesting. Is the last TDE album. Yes.
So, I mean, yeah, I expect Kendrick to be recording. I mean, he's on 3 songs for sure on the Baby Keem album, so he's clearly been recording.
The first album off of PG Lang.
PG Lang, which is another thing. Like,
yeah.
What is? I'm guessing PG Lang is just like a creative label. Just
I think it's something he's doing with his family.
Yeah.
Well, I feel like it'll be bigger than just his family, since he talks about what he wants it to be. But my one thing about these sort of stories that I always like flag is artists register songs with ASCAP all the time. That's not an indication that it'll be on an album. Sometimes if it's just a demo or you're writing a song for someone else, like you'll register it.
Exactly.
Because I have fallen a victim to the ASCAP register, thinking there's a whole track list out for people because of ASCAP, and is that just not being the case. So
who was the artist that you got excited about?
It's been everyone. I've done it for J. Cole. It's happened to Rihanna. It happens to Rihanna all the time. I think Frank Ocean before. Because artists will register songs, people will get excited, like, oh, the album's about to drop next week, and then it just doesn't happen.
It don't. Yeah, for sure.
But it'll be cool. I mean, I think we've so much of the discourse has been Kanye, Drake for obvious reasons, and I'm sure that'll come up again today. But I just feel like Kendrick. You also remember, what was the tweet where it was like Kendrick is just lurking in a corner watching all these people talk?
Yeah, exactly. I do think we are getting a Kendrick album this year.
I hope so, and that would just make 2021 a year like no
crazy.
He's gonna drop it. I'm telling you, he's gonna drop it like
Kendrick.
Everyone. That'd be insane. I feel like he's gonna drop it like right after Christmas, after everybody's year-end lists are up. It's just he's gonna do. I feel like it's gonna be a surprise drop when he drops. I feel like. I don't know, man, because Dan was kind of like, he did the song a week before, and it was like the album came out. So it was wasn't really like a long rollout. So I'm interested to see how he's going to do this.
We're getting something. We're going to get something.
Something. So.
And this is a fun little headline, a nice little kicker to get us off here. The Lorde re-recorded some of the solar power tracks in her Māori language, which is the New Zealand and language in New Zealand.
Indigenous language in New Zealand.
So I feel like always cool to see artists sort of rep where they're actually from. And Lorde, I think she still lives in New Zealand, and it's a cool little thing.
Yeah,
Avery, I'm sure you know more.
She had a nice quote where she was talking about how she said, "I know I'm someone who represents New Zealand globally in a way, and in making an album about where I'm from, it was important to me to be able to say this makes us who we are down here." So, saying if I'm going to represent New Zealand, I have to represent all of New Zealand. And I think the proceeds from this little 5-track EP will go towards charities for preservation in New Zealand. So
that's dope. I agree with you, Avery. Just if you're going to represent the country, represent every part of it, all the different cultures. So, I wish more people like that, thought like that in, the United States, but dope.
And it goes nicely with the theme that she's been trying to portray with solar power. So
yeah, for sure. Yeah. And it works, so that's cool too. So that's what's up. So
both, and check out our review of solar power, which I believe was 3 episodes ago. Give that a listen.
Yes, sir.
But on to new releases. We had some pretty big releases this week. We had the Melodic Blue by Baby Keem. Obviously, it had those 2 Kendrick Lamar features that I'm sure we'll talk about. I saw a tweet that said Kendrick almost booked the exact same amount of time as Baby Keem, which is hard to believe because he's only on 2 tracks. But if that ends up being true, that's, wow.
He's featured on 2, like he has 2 verses and he does like the hook for 1. So it's like 3 tracks kind of, but.
And then we have a Yeba album, Dawn, the re-release of Aaliyah. And then Chloe and Halle, her debut single, Have Mercy. Ari Lennox, Pressure. We had a lot this week. So what did you guys listen to? What did you like?
You already know what Avery listened to.
This Baby Keem album is so good.
It's really good.
It's really good. I've been listening to Baby Keem since like early last year with his mixtapes, and this is his debut album. So it's just very nice to see, him become more popular, because I think he deserves it. So
I was saying like maybe 3 weeks ago, I was like, yo, Baby Keem needs to announce his album like a couple, like within a month, because he was on Donda, you know what I'm saying?
Yeah, the Kendrick feature.
LA Ties just came out. Oh goodness. Ooh. Excuse me, guys. Oh, that's from that concert. You see it? My goodness. Sound like Scarecrow. But he came, he brought us, he gave us the music. Like, we always talk about, you got all this hype, let's come with some music, like a body of work, and he did it. And this is most realized complete work. Like every song feels like the perfect amount, like it's full songs.
It's 16 tracks, but it's only like 53
tracks.
Minutes.
Perfect. But his mixtapes are like, his mixtapes will be like 15 tracks, like 22 minutes, 24, like super short tracks. So this feels more realized. Yeah, Baby Keem's just super different. You know what I'm saying? Like his voice takes some getting used to, but it's good. Yeah, I enjoyed it.
I really appreciate. I feel Kendrick really sort of being there to help establish him as a newer artist on this mainstream level, because Kendrick Lamar doesn't do features often, and I think this is his cousin, of course, so we could expect it. But just the fact that he did 2 songs and seems to be heavily involved, that's the way to do it. So
he believes in him, obviously.
I hate the argument is like Kendrick carried him, because like before this, Keem already had a following before Kendrick was like on any songs. Like when he had those mixtapes, I mean, like
he never like made it obvious, or he never was like, I am Kendrick's cousin. He's just doing his own thing.
Exactly. So yeah, so excited for Baby Keem. But there was a lot of other good releases. Yeba's album came out right after, right off the heels of the Drake song on, CLB. So this is her debut project. She doesn't have any other work, I believe, on streaming at least. So this was good. She's from Memphis, right? She's from Memphis, Tennessee. So
she's got a great voice.
Great voice. She's kind of like, she's not like pop art. She's just a singer. She just sings. It's like,
she's just a really good vocalist.
She's a really good vocalist. So I enjoyed that a lot. So
this Chloe song was really good. Have Mercy.
Oh, that was the talk of Twitter.
Mercy.
Like just a great pop song.
It's a great pop song. She did. The video was great. Chloe's great. I love
Beyonce's
that.
mom was in the music video.
Beyonce's mom was in it.
I also love that
like in the rollout to this, her and Halle have been like super like close. So like there's not any I appreciate so much that no part of this discourse has been, oh, does this mean Chloe and Halle's done? Like just supporting everyone, good vibes.
I agree.
Of course, yesterday, 2 days ago, they announced the release date for Halle's Little Mermaid movie, 2023. So
I realized because probably of all the editing and effects work they have to do.
That's crazy.
Yeah, for sure.
A year and a half, like it's wild.
A year and a half editing. That's crazy.
Yeah.
But it was a really good song. And like, I don't know. I know it's like obviously she's like, I guess these are like, Chloe and Halle are like the first artists like super attached to Beyonce, but I got Beyonce vibes from the video. Just the way she dressed,
absolutely,
dancing, everything.
Absolutely.
Yeah, they're both really just super talented, and Chloe's just.
I think that's the cool thing about watching Chloe is like you can tell that she is like there. She's been signed to Beyonce's label for a while. They're only now just sort of putting out music in the last 2 or 3 years, but they've been signed to that label for a long time.
Yeah.
And it's just sort of cool to see that. Yeah, they were trying to raise the next. Give them that same formula that they gave Beyonce and just raise it like all-star, like dancer, actress, singer, performer. It's really cool to see.
It really is.
Yeah. Did anyone listen to talk about Ari Lennox already? Pressure?
That was a great song.
It was a really good song. She sounded great on it.
Yeah, Ari Lennox sounded great. It's good to see her rise because, like, not like I remember freshman year of college, Nnamdi, we were like, yo, who is Ari Lennox? Like, remember there was like the little, Revenge of the Dreamers, like just like Revenge of the Dreamers 2, where it was like all the little like new artists, and Ari Lennox was like, oh, and it's crazy to see like her rise because now she feels like really popular, and people are really enjoying her music. So this is a great song. For me to say all that, Ari Lennox sounds great. So,
and just a few things I want to shout out. Everyone should listen to the Aaliyah album. I think that Aaliyah re-released her self-titled album. I'm pretty sure everyone considers this her best, I want to say, of the 3 albums she put out while she was with us. Really good. I just remember, it's crazy. One of my few memories from like that time of my life, since we were literally, I think, 4 when Aaliyah passed away. But I just have a vivid memory of watching like the Rock the Boat music video, which I believe was the one that she was filming when she passed. But I remember watching that video and it's like being like a type setting and so it's very nostalgic. I'll say that all to say it's still a good album that holds up today. Check that out.
For sure.
Song Crazy Things.
Yeah.
She's so talented. Her voice is just very, very vibrant. We'll talk about her.
We'll talk about Tim's too. Yeah, we'll talk about Tim's too.
Her album comes out next week, right?
Oh, it does.
That's exciting.
It does.
That's dope. That's dope. One more song, and I'm done. Big Persona, Maxwell Cream and Tyler the Creator.
So good.
Maxwell Cream had a song a couple months ago, Local Joker. Was that what it was?
Yeah.
That kind of was kind of slept on because Maxwell Cream's been like killing it the last couple of years.
It's underrated.
Yeah, he signed to Rock Nation, I believe. It's like under a management deal or something like that. I think so. I think he signed to Rock Nation, but I'm hyped if he's coming out with a project or something soon. I'm really excited for that. So And actual cream, Tyler the Creator. Yeah, exactly. And it works kind of perfectly, but kind of in a weird way. But it's just so perfect.
Tyler sounds great. So
he sounds great. So
yeah. I also have to shout out this new Lana Del Rey song.
Okay. Yeah.
The amount of music she puts out and it all being good is just it's kind of baffling to me. Like,
I've never known how I felt about Lana Del Rey.
I feel the same way, and I like her as a human being. Her some of the things she has to say. We've covered it on a very early episode of this podcast. Really interesting viewpoints on some things, but the music slaps, and this song's really cool and good. It's called Arcadia.
Even her music, I would say the one thing I've always given Lana Del Rey is that the first time I heard her, like in middle school, I was like, how is she ever going to be able to diversify this sound? Like, what can you do with this? She's managed to do that every album since. So I will give her that.
She puts out like an album a year.
She's making it work.
She puts out like one album a year. It's crazy.
Like Griselda grind.
It really is. So looking forward to whatever she has coming out next.
I like how no one even mentioned this DaBaby song. We had it on the list and no one even.
This 504 song was good too. Storytime. He's great.
Yeah, DaBaby, I'm kind of over. I was never a fan anyway. Like, I was never like a fan. Like,
he was ready to switch it up.
But now there's especially no reason to listen.
There's really no reason to listen to him. Exactly. I was never like a fan of his music. So
wait. Did anyone listen to the SZA song, the anonymous ones, which will apparently be in Dear Evan Hansen?
No, I feel bad whenever I see an art because she had a song for Space Jam too, and I also like didn't listen to that.
I was like, oh man, I want an actual song, like a single.
Yeah, I want something that like
I tried to with SZA because I think her song with Justin Timberlake from the Trolls movie Other Side was actually a really catchy song. So now
I'm just
she put out those songs on SoundCloud.
Oh yeah,
those were really good.
See, I'm waiting for the project because last year we got 2 singles. We got Hit Different and Good Days, which are Hit Different was cool, but Good Days.
We're all waiting on what's it called, T-shirt or something. So
was that last year?
That was last year, 2020. Hit Different and Good Days came out last year.
Good Days came out in 2020.
Exactly. So we're waiting on.
There's no way. Good Days
came
out
this album, SZA? What's going on?
That's what I'm saying. Where the album at? So I'm kind of like, yo, where's the announcement? Like,
what is CD? Are we sure Good Days did not come out this year?
Can we Google that?
Nah, I've confirmed I'm on Apple Music now. December 25th, 2020. So right at the
December 25th, 2020. Well, okay, well, December. Maybe that's why it doesn't feel. Well, yeah, that's still way farther than I thought it was. Not gonna lie.
Same.
Exactly. Okay, but honestly, y'all, I think we've been building this up. Enough. Last week we hit you with the Donda review. We knew what was happening. And Drake dropped Certified Lover Boy. And let me tell you, we have thoughts. We have a lot of thoughts.
That just represents how Nnamdi feels about the album right there.
It does. No, I'm just reading what this main discussion line says, and I'm like, I no longer know if that will be true. Oh man. We may have a special guest join us. I don't know, but that may happen. Stay tuned. But yeah, let me be serious. So Drake has put out Certified Lover Boy. It's his first full-length album since Scorpion in 2018. What number is this for Drake? Six studio?
Yes.
So it's his 6th studio album. I know that number may feel so low, but you have to remember Drake has made a habit of putting out
mixtapes,
playlists, care packages
that he still sells. For streams.
That he still sells and gets streams, and give him more number ones and record-breaking hits. But yeah, he's given us Certified Lover Boy, and I want to just before we even get into the review, I want to tell you guys how I saw this album when it was announced and when it was coming in the rollout. Then I want to get you guys how you perceived it. So for me, the rollout of this album was so just dope. Billboards. I love the little detail. Drake just, he did these billboards in the cities of all the featured artists, and it was just, New York, the goats on CLB. There was other ones.
Yeah, Avery, if you could click on that link of the rollout, there's a couple of them, but like, there was one. It was like, crap. The city heroes coming home, like Houston. It was like, yo, hometown heroes on CLB.
I saw one on Twitter that said the Queen of Queens, but I don't know if he actually did that for Nicki Minaj.
Hey Toronto, the best rapper alive, signed me in 2009, is on CLB. He had
Lil Wayne, yeah.
Yeah, Chicago, Smirk is on CLB.
Smirk is on CLB. Atlanta,
and
it was
I thought like he did this in lieu of a traditional like single release, right? So I thought this was really dope, like a really detail oriented rollout that I was here for. But unfortunately, the rollout of this album didn't stop and end with this really, really cool campaign. It got messy because Drake was in something with Kanye West, which I want to remind us, I was doing a little trip down memory lane and I was like, did Drake start this tiff or was it Kanye? Like Drake had that verse where he was like, you know, nothing set in stone, the Trippie Redd verse where he was like, I'm not changing nothing.
I've seen some people say that the Trippie Redd thing was first, but then I've also seen other people say that Kanye said something before that, which I am not remembering at the moment. So
you know what this feels? This feels like just like all of this going back even farther, because I'm thinking about the Shop interview with Drake talked about the whole Kanye thing, like
that was around when Ye came out.
And exactly. And I remember when Scorpion came out, he had that song, you know, Kiki, do you love? I remember Kanye did a live. He was like, yo, I don't want you to insinnuate you messing with my wife.
I remember
like,
that.
Remember he had a live. He was like, don't insinuate messing with my wife. If I had a song, if I had a girl named Rihanna, whatever, like a girl similar to Rihanna, and I said, yo, Riri, I love you. It's like, I would never do that. So like,
you know, he had that line about,
for a minute.
He had that line about people moving off of his release dates.
Exactly.
And that was more recent because I thought, and I feel it's important to say that because when the Kiki thing happened, I remember that. I don't know, and I'm not sure that ever had a public resolution. I think they stopped talking about it, so we stopped talking about it.
You know what's weird though is that this feud spikes obviously when these two release albums.
Exactly.
And
I say that
it's like fishy. So,
but that's sort of like the point of what I'm kind of saying. Like, there was a reason Drake decided to, you know, sort of keep the ante up with his beef as his album was coming out. And I feel like for me, that personally started to raise the expectation of what I thought Drake was about to give us. Like Drake was lining himself up to go toe in toe with Kanye West, who no matter what you say about him is one of the most innovative presence in rap. That's like a big name, right?
Absolutely.
And when you think about it like that, like, yo, this is the album that Drake says is about to, you know, wrap up Kanye. Like, you just sort of expect it to be this like amazing album. Drake is saying, I think this piece of work is so good that I don't even need to give you a single beforehand. I'm gonna release it the same week as Kanye West, or you know, if Kanye didn't end up releasing it early, and I'm gonna wash him.
It's crazy because he did the exact same thing with Scorpion. Because remember the thing Drake said, why Scorpion. Remember, Drake said Kanye knew his release date, which is why he released all those like 7-track albums in a row, because he was like, to mess up Drake's release date. Like that's what Drake said. So now
wait, really? So Drake thinks Kanye did that for Scorpion.
Exactly.
But let me tell you why I feel like I think Kanye or anyone in Kanye's circle is gonna tell him Drake is gonna win that. Drake is gonna win. Like commercially, Drake's a behemoth. I think Kanye has to know that. That's why this felt so much more pronounced, because it was Drake sort of being the one to say, nah, I'm gonna step on your toes.
No. Exactly.
And the only reason I bring up that messy rollout is because for me, first impression wise of this album, I expected Certified Lover Boy to come out and be some like straight, like the best of Drake we've heard. Cause I just thought you have to be that confident in your work to do this the way you're doing it, you know?
Mm-hmm.
And we're gonna get into first impressions and everything. But for me, the bar was high, and I was wondering if the bar was that high for you guys. We've talked about this on our own, but I think let's bring it to the actual, you know, podcast. You know, what were you guys expecting or hoping this album would be? And then I guess the next part of that will be, do you think we got what you were expecting and hoping it would be? Because for me, I don't.
Avery?
I got exactly what I thought, what I wanted out of this album. Like honestly, this beef, if you can even call it that, has seemed so petty and literally so insignificant to anything happening in hip hop and music that when this album dropped at 1 a.m., I was not even thinking about the beef. Nothing in my head. I'd forgotten that like they even had a beef. I was just literally thinking like, oh cool, Donda came out this week and now we get Certified Lover Boy. Like, this is awesome. And all I wanted out of it was like a nice Drake album. My expectations weren't I didn't think it was gonna be anything earth shattering. So, you know, I think my thoughts on this album are gonna be reflected in the fact that I got exactly what I wanted, which is exactly what we've gotten from Drake for the last 5 years. And so I think, and I said this to Noah the night of, I was like, I think my expectations were like perfectly set for this album.
You know what? I'm kind of like in the middle between you guys because I don't really have any expectations for Drake because like I'm the one standing on top of the hill. Like Drake needs to make a short, concise 12-track album, no fillers. And I've accepted a long time ago. He's just never gonna do that. He's gonna release these long 20-track albums. It's just gonna happen. You know what I'm saying? So I really came with just kind of like level expectations. I wasn't expecting anything crazy. I was like, oh my gosh, he has to release a classic. I wasn't thinking, oh my gosh, he has to release, he has to release, this is going to be trash. I kind of came in with level expectations. So I was kind of just like, I hope I just get a good album with a lot of songs I like. And I feel like for the most part, I got that. I got a lot of songs I could save on here, which is more than I could say about Drake albums as of recently. So I have pretty level expectations. I didn't expect anything major, nothing crazy. I was just like, I just need some songs I can go back to where Drake's spitting and he's rapping and I'm enjoying it, essentially.
And then, listen, the next precursor question I want to ask you all is how long have you been listening to Drake? Because I also think Drake fatigue, for if you've been a longer fan, plays a part in this for me. And again, we've talked about this off pod, but I think is this sort of a helpful, I do think that matters in views of like Drake's and expectations.
I agree. Because I think me and Nnamdi were kind of aligned when we started. The first time I heard Drake was around 2009, Best Ever Had, So Far Gone. I was in, 6th going to 7th grade? Nnamdi, you probably remember better, like 6th going to 7th grade. I think it was
like same, around that.
Essentially that's when I heard Drake, and it's crazy to think it's been like 12 years I've been listening to Drake actively paying attention to his music, but about that long. So.
Yeah, for me, like, I knew obviously the big songs like Best I Ever Had and all that, but I didn't like seriously start listening to Drake until like high school, so like 2013, 2014.
Which is this, I think that's really, I do think that's fascinating because I do think you'll also see, I may be harsher than Avery and than Avery may be because of that. And I guess we'll see. We might as well start talking about the actual music. I thought one thing we could do, because intros tend to be so highly lauded with Drake, is after we give our first impressions, the extent we go in for actual songs is just describing like how you think champagne poetry compares to other intros, particularly my favorite, which is still Tuscan Leather.
I agree.
So sort of talk about your first impression and then how you felt when you clicked to track 1 and heard champagne poetry.
Yeah, I'm with you. I think Tuscan Leather is his best intro, but to me, this is like top 2 or 3 for me. I love this intro. And Drake kind of tricked you because he said Masego is going to be on the album. He just sampled a Masego song, which samples a Beatles song, which is that,
which, why he may be trying to troll the Beatles. Drake is not trolling the Beatles.
Yeah, I know. He's like, I got more slaps than the Beatles.
When I first heard the song, I kind of laughed because I was like, I love the little like how he just keeps pointing to the fact, and he does it again with Michael Jackson.
Exactly, on Michael Jackson.
No, Drake literally has more Billboard Hot 100. I know top 10, and I'm pretty sure this hits period than the Beatles, Michael Jackson, Elvis Presley.
I also think it's very telling of like Drake's approach to music. To Nnamdi's point, like it's very, it's why he comes out with these long albums. It's why he makes such music that can be consumed by the masses, and that works on me. Admittedly, so I think that like the fact that he's been trolling the Beatles and trolling these like historic music acts is like,
not sure if you know, but I'm actually Michael Jackson.
Yeah, exactly. The Man in the Mirror is actually going platinum. Like
the Man in the Mirror is actually going platinum.
It's so funny to me. I love it. So
yeah, but this first track I really enjoyed. Drake is he's the king of like doing like a an intro, and like most of his intros are actually really like they're actually
no one sighs better than Drake on a song.
You're right. But he's just talking champagne poetry. I like the first half better than the second half, but the second half's great too with like the soul sample. So I enjoyed it. So
what is that? I love that sample. I'll give him. I don't know. He knows how to pick a sample.
I feel like it's a choir or something.
The second song is Montel Jordan, but the first one.
Really?
Oh, really?
Dope. Yeah, that first track is great. So he's just talking his stuff, man. You know what I'm saying? It's the pretty boys versus the petty boys, like. Whatever that means, whoever he's talking about, I don't know, but
I guess he's technically
lines
both.
Like that with Drake, I'm just like,
I mean, he's doing the Jay-Z thing. He's doing like the subliminal, like only the person who it's about will know what it's about. But honestly, I'm past the point. Like we don't know. It's like we know who he's talking about. These lines are too too timely. They're too,
Kanye, right?
It's Kanye.
Yes,
It's Kanye.
yeah.
Like, he's not saying name, but it's too timely. So we're gonna get into that later about Kanye shots. But that was a great first track. And not if you guys have any more thoughts on the first track, Harboring, and like I want to stay on that. But those first two tracks I think are great. The first two tracks.
I agree.
On the
They're
album.
two of my favorites on the album.
They play really well into each other.
I agree.
I think Poppy's Home is so on the nose. It's such a joke that I had it's just funny. He's talking about obviously he's a father now, like a real father.
Yeah.
But he's also talking about how everyone in the rap game, they're his son.
They're my sons. Yeah.
He's like, I know that I left you guys for a little bit, but don't worry. Daddy's home.
Nnamdi, I want to know how you
it.
feel about it.
I
I feel you.
It's so good.
No, but the only reason I say that is because it works for Drake. Drake is the only person right now who can be this this sort of confident and egotistical and machismo. I swear him and Kanye feel like the same coin, just two different sides.
Yes, they really are.
Because I do think they're both narcissists. I think Drake's not a narcissist.
1,000%.
Easily.
Absolutely. Look at the album cover. I just can't.
Oh, we should have talked about that too.
We should have talked about that. I mean,
that was part of the rollout.
Yeah, that was
It is part of the rollout. And honestly, y'all know me, I have this habit of trying to find a theme when I can. And I'm not going to even try to do that with this. I don't think there was one there. But this album cover and then Poppy's Home and you never know if he's talking to his son or if he's trying to dunk on other people in the industry.
Both.
So and then it's both, but it's ew.
Well, Nnamdi, I'm surprised you didn't bring up the Nicki Minaj thing. Where she came in at the end.
Oh, her speaking, right?
That was great too.
I like that. She's like,
I kind of wish she
call
did
your
verse
daddy.
after it, though.
Yeah, because he's don't make me. He's like, don't make me call your mother.
Yeah, but I kind of like what she did though. She was just coming in with that New York sassy.
You know who else has had Nicki Minaj on a song just talking, right? No rapping, just talking.
Oh, you're right. Kanye West.
All I'm saying.
Kanye West is the one that
when Kanye did it, it was one of the first songs on the album. I'm just saying.
Right. I mean, he's the one that kind of got her blow on that album. That's what kind of made.
He rapped later on that album too. So.
Exactly. True. So yeah. So those first two tracks were great, but now getting into the meat of the album.
Not even the meat. I hope you tee in on. I want you specifically, Noah.
Mm-hmm.
You talked about those first two songs. I know personally you like them.
I do.
But talk about the transition that happens from track 2 to track 3.
well, honestly,
how you feel about that?
Not even track 2 to track 3. Track 3 through this after those two tracks, it's a bumpy ride for me. So getting onto the third track, Girls Want Girls.
First feature on the album, Lil Baby.
First feature on the album, which is Lil Baby.
Just collecting these mainstream features. He's just
collecting these features.
Like Infinity Stones.
Girls Want Girls was not it. And people have said this, he sounded half asleep on there. He did. Drake sounded half asleep on the song. He sounded half asleep. He sounded like he just woke up. He sounded like us right now. Seriously, he sounded us after the show. He sounded like he didn't have no voice left. I don't know what he was thinking with this, man.
It's crazy because Lil Baby's rapping his ass off on this song.
He's rapping
because he has to. It's
I know, it's
the
energy.
Lil Baby knows.
He has to, and
the energy only comes from one part of this.
And that's my problem with these next couple tracks because I don't know. I hope y'all don't get mad at me. Actually, I don't think y'all get mad at me because the Love All song with Jay-Z. That's another one where Drake sounds half asleep. He sounds half asleep. He is doing nothing. At first, I was like, yo, this song's great, Jay-Z. But then I noticed, I only like Jay-Z on here. Drake sounds asleep on here. I don't know if you guys
He's
agree.
leaning on these.
3, 4, and 5, he's doing that to me. And 6, if we're being honest.
But y'all know I have a habit of, again, trying to find things where there's none. And I almost wonder if Drake is doing that intentionally because he just... It's all part of this bigger picture of when you're at the top, you don't have to try. Some people say you have to work harder, but when I'm champagne poppy, I don't even got to talk clearly to y'all. I can y'all need to listen to me. I wonder if that's sort of the point. I may be overanalyzing, but that's what it feels like.
I don't know. At least say that in the Bible and fair trade are catchy. They're catchy, but he's also he's just okay.
Okay, wait, but I'm gonna to your point, Avery. All my critiques about Drake stand, but he knows the formula to make a good song, right? He doesn't change that formula.
I don't think
he knows because my thing is
line that went viral.
That's viral, right? But I really don't like Girls Want Girls. To be honest, just as a song, I don't.
Oh no, I
but
don't like
in
that
the
song.
Bible and Fair Trade, I think are great songs. I'm not gonna lie. I know some people are mixed on Fair Trade specifically, but I really enjoy Giveon on In the Bible. I really enjoy Lil Durk on In the Bible. I like the song just generally itself and Fair Trade. And I think Way Too Sexy, once you accept it for what it is, which is just this jokey song, it's easier to like it.
Well, Way Too Sexy is great because when I first saw it, I was like, this is ridiculous. And the thing is, it's a ridiculous song. The music video is ridiculous, and that's the point. So you take that, with a grain of salt, like, it's being stupid, it's being funny on purpose. Like you can hear the "I'm too sexy for my." It's like in the background, that sample. Exactly. So it's kind of stupid for for what it is. But like the thing is with those other songs, like it's like it'll just be parts. Like on Fair Trade, I like the hook and Travis Scott's part. On In the Bible, I like Giveon's part. On La Ball, I like Jay-Z's part. And y'all know me. This is your album. You got to be the standout album. Like he's not adding anything. It's not like it's like he's not even singing good. Like if he was singing good, singing his ass off or some shit, like he's not even doing that. He sounds half asleep on all these songs. Not Way Too Sexy, but Girls Want Girls.
I think it works
Bible,
on Fair Trade.
Fair Trade.
I really like Fair Trade.
It works on some songs better than.
I agree. Fair Trade is when it works better, but it's just
like
those are
a nice like chill banger from Drake.
But he's half asleep on 4-5 songs in a row. Like nobody wants that, man. Come on.
And Travis Scott sounds amazing. So
Travis Scott sounds great.
His verse is great.
Yeah, I agree. I agree.
Actually,
I let it slide when I really should have slid. Oh, that's great.
Yeah, I mean, it's like a Own It type song, like Own It, like one of those type songs. But Way Too Sexy, that's like the club banger. That's the hit. That's the hit from this album. Would you agree?
But I will. Can I say I don't think. Yeah. I think this album, relative to his others, had the fewest amount of like
bangers,
obvious hit like club bangers.
I agree.
Hits,
agree.
Which is really interesting. I think that's maybe
that's one of my critiques with the album. That
I think
it's like Certified Lover Boy. Maybe he's trying to be a little more smooth, I guess, or something on his album.
Well, but he's not doing it. Then if you want to see, it's like if you stick to a theme, if you want to.
No. Drake being smooth is girls. That's him being smooth to him. Girls Want Girls is smooth to him, which is not. It's not smooth, but that's him being smooth to him.
I just wanted more.
If I want to believe that, it's like then why do you have songs like Knife Talk or Fountain if like you want to be smooth, like suave, if that's the point of the album?
I wanted more songs like the second half of In Too Deep.
I'm
like
with you.
The second half of In Too Deep is one of my favorite songs of this album. First half can go, but the second half,
I'm with you.
Well, hold on. Let's talk about it then. Let's talk about the stretch of R&B songs that you sort of get after Way Too Sexy. One thing we didn't talk about enough at the beginning about this album, but we slandered Donda for, is this album is also long. It's an hour and 27 minutes.
Hour and 26 minutes. Yep,
it's 20.
Hour and 26.
How many tracks is on? 21 track album.
These songs are long too.
These songs are long.
Yeah. And I don't think we have the conversation about whether or not we think the music justifies the length. Maybe we can save that for the end.
No, it doesn't. It doesn't.
So it doesn't. We didn't need
to read my newsletter. It don't.
So, but I do want to, let's start talking about the stretch of R&B tracks you get from sort of like TSU to
the last one, like the last half, the second half, basically.
Yeah.
Up to Yebba's Heartbreak.
It's not the whole second half, but sort of, you know what I mean? Like the second quadrant. The second.
Yeah. Yeah, for sure.
Like TSU to Yebba's Heartbreak are pretty.
Yeah, exactly.
Well, TSU has, its own issues.
I have to give, if I'm going to give Kanye the energy last week.
We need to talk about it.
Yeah,
if I gave Kanye the same energy last week for the Marilyn Manson and the Baby features and Chris Brown, then I have to give the same energy to Drake. TSU has OG Ron C speaking at the beginning, which I believe is like they took from something. Like
it's an old recording.
Yeah, and I guess in the background you can hear a song. I personally couldn't, but you can hear apparently a song, an R. Kelly song in the background. And if they wanted to use this track or this little speech from OG Ron C, they had to credit R. Kelly, which makes me wonder, why didn't they just have him re-record it?
Or just don't use it. I get you.
Yeah, also it's long and like boring. And even though he's shouting out Dallas, where I'm from, I still am like, why is this here?
You don't need it. I think you want to use it because it ends with TSU ladies, but I don't think you needed it. And part of the reason at the beginning I said the whole thing about R. Kelly is because that trial is close to the media, you're not getting the coverage you would typically get with of a star of this caliber, like, and you're not hearing the things he's being accused of doing. And because of that, I don't think you're gonna have as many people upset about, oh, I mean, he's not, you can't even hear R. Kelly, y'all just being dramatic. It's just, yeah, he just gets a writing credit. I'm not sure you want to pay R. Kelly right now. I'm not sure.
You don't.
I don't know if you want to contribute to that legal defense fund. I just don't think that's the thing to do. R. Kelly's been accused of doing some pretty horrific stuff.
It's just, honestly, it's just indefensible at this point. Like, this is just literally Ron C talking. You could have easily, and it's over that, you know, chopped and screwed, you know, voice. So Drake could have easily done that himself. He could have got Ron C in the studio to do that himself, just talking, not get an old recording. Like,
if you needed it that badly, you should have done it. You're Drake.
Yeah, it's indefensible. It's indefensible to be like, he had no reason to do this.
My beef with it is that, like, you know, I say we need to raise the bar for Drake. That really applies to his music, but also I think it applies here. You're at the forefront of a music industry right now. The things you do, other artists are going to take that and sort of use that to hedge what they can get away with.
So now people don't feel like it's okay to have R. Kelly on the album.
You have I'm not saying that you're gonna have R. Kelly feature, but you now have the biggest star in the music industry say, you know, listen, if there's
I'm saying, but like writing credit, exactly.
If there's a clip you need to do, if you know, royalties, maybe that's like where the line will draw for R. Kelly. And I think that's sad. I think when you're at the head, you also have like the moral responsibility to sort of take a stand sometimes. And you this little intro, this like 10-second intro was
it's not 10 seconds, it's like a minute.
He's talking for a while. He's talking for a while. Yeah, he's talking for a while.
I mean, the part where you hear the song, I still don't even know.
It's
I don't even know where you hear the song.
You can't, because, you know, 40, the producer says you can't really hear it anyway, but basically that whole thing in the recording, R. Kelly's in the background. There's an R. Kelly song in the background, like very faintly.
Which I really don't think you can hear on.
You can't hear, but it doesn't matter. It doesn't matter.
Now that I know it's there, every time I see or hear this song, I'm like, oh, this is the one with R. Kelly.
Really, this one R. Kelly's gonna make.
And I think that's what they're relying on. Like, you can't hear, nobody will know. Nobody will look at the writing credits.
Well, we know now.
So
no excuses. You're right. I'm with you on all that. So,
you know, that's where we're gonna leave TSC. We're not even gonna talk about it, even though it is, you know,
even though, but the song's decent, but it's okay.
It's basically about him bankrolling a stripper. So.
Exactly. Yeah, who cares?
Which we've heard from Drake many times before. So.
Yeah, you know, a lot of people talk about with these Drake albums, with these long releases. I always joke that the Drake album I'm gonna make from this CLB is gonna be great. Like, my 13-track Drake album is gonna be heat. And this is the thing with Drake, because he's such a pop star, he has so many lanes he's in, but did all these songs deserve to be on the album? Like, could he have taken these songs out and still had a really great CLB, Certified Lover Boy album? You know, like, did all these songs deserve to be on there? Because like some like for example, like Way Too Sexy is not my stuff, but like I get it on there because it's a strip club, it's a club anthem, it's a banger. The rest of these songs have merit to be on this album. You know what I'm saying? Were they good enough? Did they make sense on the album?
Be ready to say.
It makes me wonder why.
I'm saying, like, other songs like Fountains. Like, I know you got thoughts on that though.
It made me wonder why he left songs like Yeba's Heartbreak on here, which would have been like amazing on like a nice short album. But on this like 21-track behemoth that's an hour and a half long, it just gets lost.
It really does.
See, that's the thing. I think Yeba's Heartbreak gives it personality, so I'm okay with that being on here, right?
I mean, I think it's very like emotional.
It's a great song.
Good.
Yeah, and I think for what this album ideally maybe at some point was, I can see why Drake wants to include that, especially since I don't know how he's involved. It's Drake and Yeba. Maybe he like wrote or like helped produce or did the range.
From Memphis, I guess. He's from Memphis. I think that's all it is. So.
OVO sound.
So,
but I will say, I do think there's some songs that could have went. I don't think Drake always needed as many R&B songs as he had on here. I wrote down a few that I would have been fine chopping off. I think if he wanted to stick to a Certified Lover Boy theme, you probably didn't need Knife Talk. You probably didn't need No Friends in the Industry. You probably didn't need. I mean, these were good songs, but did you need them for that album if Certified Lover Boy was the point? Probably not.
Oh man,
definitely Fountains. God, definitely.
Oh my gosh, that's another one. Tim sounded great. Drake was horrible. So,
and it just feels like Drake forced it on there because Essence was big and he wanted an Afrobeat song. I have no Afrobeat that song. This song could have been ready for years. Yeah. I acknowledge that, but I will say it just felt very forced, and it was not Drake's best performance.
And Nnamdi, I'm surprised you haven't brought this up. This album, like me and Nnamdi went through a couple of songs. Like a lot of these songs sound like songs he's already made, just different versions. Like me and Nnamdi kind of went through. It was like, this song sounds like this. Like, you know, You Only Live Twice sounds like Lord Knows. No Friends in Energy sounds like Energy. Knife Talk sounds like pretty much any track with, you know, any track Drake's done with 21 Savage essentially, you know, and that's kind of unfortunate. You know, I don't want to feel like, you know, I love a lot of artists, and, you know, sometimes there's artists that release the same type music, but the content changes in terms of like what their content's about. Like, for example, like Vince Staples, okay? Just a loose, you know, he might do something like his content might be the same, but his sound changed so drastically from album to album, you can still get something different. J. Cole, his sound might be a little similar, but his content, what he's rapping about, is so different. They're like, oh, you're getting something different from each album. Drake is still the same dude from when he was freaking 23 years old.
I think
he
that's
acts the exact same way.
That's where we differ on this with opinions, right? Where I said like my expectations were set, and like I think they're set perfectly. Because like when I listen to a Drake album, and especially since Views, like I said, I told you guys this, like I want to enter this world where I feel like this fantasy world where like people are doubting me, and like, you know, like I'm the underdog, you know, and when in reality, like everyone's supporting me, and people are like, you know, everyone loves Drake. And so like I think where we differ here is like I got what I wanted in You Only Live Twice. Like that song's awesome. And you know, No Friends in the Industry,
I like that song too.
I like that song a lot, even though he has how many features on this album? He clearly has friends in the industry, and like
clearly,
yeah, and Knife Talk's awesome. Like I really love these songs, so I think that's where we differ.
No, the thing is, I like these songs. I do like them. Like it doesn't take away from my enjoyment of the project or the songs. The enjoyment of songs on the project. It's just like, this is just like essentially for me. This is just like, you know, people talk about he's made the same album over and over again since Views. This is just my favorite version of this type album, CLB, personally. Of those all albums, this is the favorite version for me of those type albums, which is fine. But to Nnamdi's point, where's the growth? Where's the innovation? Where's the...
Yeah, for me, it's just called fatigue. Like, that's the difference between Avery and I think me and maybe Noah. It's fatigue.
That's fair. It's valid.
Again, like when I say like, it's just when you've been listening to Drake for a minute, you just want to see some sort of growth. Like you want to see him enter like another phase. You want to see him do something that's different. And I think he continues to refine a lane that he's already showed us he's mastered. And that annoys me sometimes.
Fair.
And I think he's still finding immense success with it. So I'm not sure he'll ever change. I mean, my thing, how many times have people just asked Drake to give us an R&B album? Like, Drake, if you want to lean into the R&B side, just give us a full R&B album, Drake. I don't know if it would be good. I don't know if it'd be good.
Scorpion. Like, whatever the track, or the
he did the A-side, B-side type of thing with Scorpion, but I still feel
the closest we're going to get.
It's just like, I want to see Drake commit to something different and just do it. Because all we're getting is like, I think to Noah's point, you're getting different versions, albeit better versions, but of the same album. And in my opinion, I don't even think that's always the case. Like, You Only Live Twice, I don't think that's I think all of Drake and Rick Ross's features have been, like, most of the previous ones are better.
Yeah, Lil Wayne was the standout on that.
Lil Wayne was a standout. I think Fountains, of course, not the best Afrobeat song on here. Knife Talk, I know I love 21 Savage, so I like the song.
21 Savage is the standout on that too.
Yeah, but I think there's some songs like freaking Fans that could honestly have gone.
That sounds like a So Far Gone song.
But that's the point. It's like, and in the content of some of these things, like what Drake is actually saying, it's the same trope.
It really
and at
is.
A certain point, you're like, bro, like, if you're 35 rapping about the same thing you were saying at 27, like, what's going on here? 23. Exactly. Like, what's, you know, what are we doing here?
You know what's even a bigger indictment on that is Drake is the freaking biggest artist in the world. No matter what Drake puts out,
y'all better read my newsletter.
People read Nnamdi's newsletter. No matter what Drake puts out, people will follow him. Because you know, we're talking about this crap. All these songs are going to be in the Hot 100. So literally, no matter what Drake put out, literally, he could. That's why he has even more space to be creative, because people are going to listen.
Creative and innovate. Exactly. Because
people are going to listen. Like, he has, like, if you're a new artist, like if Drake comes, he's like, okay, I got to stick to my script. This is what I'm known for. That's, you know, that has more merit. Drake is Drake. Whatever he puts out, people are going to listen and gravitate towards. So he has more space to me to be creative and try new things.
And I think that's ultimately my biggest gripe with the album.
I agree with you.
just the fact that, like, you know, and let me say this, a lot of people have poked fun, including the people I'm talking to you all here, about how I seem to always compare sort of Fight Lover Boy and Donda, whatever. I think there's sort of, I think that's the point. Like, Drake wanted us to compare sort of Fight Lover Boy and Donda. If he didn't want us to compare the two albums, he wouldn't have trolled Kanye and tried to drop his album the same day. Like, I've seen so many tweets like, you know, why can't we just enjoy both? Why is everyone trying to put them against each other? And I'm like, because unfortunately the people who created these music wanted us to put it against each other. Like, Drake, like, this was this conversation, this discourse was very much so intentional. So I'm not going to feel bad for participating in it. And I say that to say what you want about Kanye West, but when he was at the top of the music industry, which he was for a minute, when Kanye was the Drake of rap, you know, the pop crossover guy who always made hits that stick. Like, when that was Kanye's MO, he used that room to experiment. And even now, he still does that. Kanye will build a ranch, invite a whole bunch of people, and try to make an album out of it. Sometimes it's good, sometimes it sucks, but he's experimenting. And my thing is, now that Drake occupies that position as the huge, gigantic presence in music that Drake is, I want to see him take advantage of that and do something. Yeah. And, like, you know, it's again, you're always going to have people. I think the thing that makes Drake music work is that younger generation, newer fans are going to feel less and less like me. If you just started listening to Drake with Scorpion, you're not going to care that this album sounds like Views. You may not know that. But when you're an older fan, I think he's going to start losing some who just expect more and want something different. Yeah.
But, you know? I mean, but to Avery's point, like, he's kind of way past, like, if
he's too big to fail.
He's too big to fail.
Don't get me wrong. But I do think critically, I think Drake at a certain point needs to start caring about his critical, like, how we view him critically.
Yeah. And I mean, Nnamdi made some very valid points in his newsletter. Like, you know, although mainstream success is important, like, a lot of the biggest artists are remembered because of how critically, like, how great their albums were critically, like,
and how they innovated within their genre, how their music was so good.
Drake is very much living in the moment.
He is. He is.
I think the again, quote unquote beef, I think that is exemplified here, where, you know, maybe Kanye had a couple bars directed at Drake on his album, like, maybe. But Drake has, like, songs here.
Yeah, 7 a.m. on is it Brittle or Bridle Path?
I think Brittle. I was saying Bridle for a long time. I just think that's completely wrong. Is it Brittle?
I think Bridle is like, no, I think it's Bridle. I think it's Brittle because Bridle is like BRIDAL, like Bridle.
I didn't know if this was like a street name that could.
It's where he lives.
Oh,
so
that's where
you see, this is my point. This is why it is about this is why it's about Kanye. Because remember, Kanye,
neighbors, right?
And Kanye, you know, tweeted out or took a screenshot.
Oh, do y'all remember the pool thing? Wait, I'm sorry. I remember that was part of this beef too. Like,
that's this thing too. Yeah,
Drake saying my pool's bigger than Kanye,
which also happened around an album release.
Well, yeah, but I'm saying, like, the name of this song isn't like an accident, like, on a Brittle Path, because remember Kanye took a screenshot of his address and remember put it out on social media for
public knowledge, by the way.
Which is public knowledge, by the way.
Oh wow, yeah.
Exact still, but, like, he's like, oh, he's trying to do that to come at me. So, like, he has a couple of lines on here about, he's talking about Kanye most of the time. Like, most of these lines, he's talking about Kanye. He says boom by
a couple that stick out. I'm trying to find it.
You know what I'm saying? So, like,
right here.
Yeah, that's one. But there's more. Hold on.
The song's fire, by the way. It's great.
Great song. He's rapping his ass off again.
Avery, keep on scrolling down.
Yep.
Because I'm trying to find. I know there's a bar that I heard, and I was like, oh. Ooh, there's one. Told you I'm aiming straight for the head, not aiming to please. I could give a F about who's designing your sneakers and tees, because apparently in that message something about Virgil.
Give that address to your driver and make it your destination. Instead of just a post out of desperation.
Ooh.
It's about Kanye. It's a shot.
While you were over there trying to impress the nation, mine's running wild with speculation. Why the F we peacemaking, doing the explanation. And just gonna be right back in that without hesitation. See, I get that though, because I'm tired of forgiving. I'm tired of us making amends and then you doing something again. That's what Drake
did this exact thing with Scorpion. Because remember, Scorpion around that came out. Pusha T came at Drake. He killed him. He won.
Wait, stop. Scroll. Text him, bro, but we're not of no close relation. I was down to give him credit, but hold the payment. Somehow, sorry, I thought that was cooler than then
But he's talking about he's
Still
clearly
about
talking
Kanye.
to
Sorry.
somebody. He's still talking to somebody.
It's Kanye. Can we just talk about he's talking about Kanye?
He's talking about Kanye. And this is the same thing that happened with Scorpion, because remember Scorpion was supposed to come out and Drake waited, and then he had a couple rewrites because he was talking about Pusha. Remember and that throughout that album he was taking shots, little slight shots at Pusha, but never said his name. Like he's done it before.
To me, okay, as much as I do like this album, like it's hard for me to believe that this is the album that he's been teasing since 2019.
Right?
Like apparently, like it says it right here on this Genius page. On April 2019, Drake first announced that he was working on a new album, which obviously eventually became this. It is really hard for me to believe that this is the album that he was working on for 2.5 years.
Avery, this is the album that Drake held up and said, this is the one I'm gonna take out Kanye West with. That's why my now concern, the question that now has me shook to my core, is did Drake peak with Nothing Was the Same 8 years ago, or maybe Views 5 years ago, however you wanted to find it? Point being,
it's different for every Drake fan.
That doesn't scare me.
Oh my God, that scares me, because my thing is, you can't, Drake, they're gonna tell, like, if this is really the reason why I think I'm this critical about this album is because it's like, this was that Drake has been teasing it for years. He knew the pressure was on, like he delay after delay. And it was just an album we've sort of heard before, a better version of an album we've heard before. And it's like, yo, if this is all he can do, if this is the extent of your lane, how am I supposed to stay along for the ride? Like much longer?
I honestly do think that he's gonna reach new heights eventually. But I think right now he's in a lane that he is very comfortable in. And he is not going to change. And I don't know if it's going to be the next album or the album after that. I do eventually think he's going to, come out.
If there's one thing I will give Drake a positive, right? I do remember after Views, after More Life, I want to say like even during Scorpion, so many people saying, I want Take Care Drake back. Like I want Nothing Was the Same Drake. I want some songs that remind me of that. Like
You're not saying Drake to come back. You want something new.
And like, but I'm saying to all the people who were saying that, I mean, Drake gave them that. There like my sister, I was talking to my older sister about this, who loves this album. And I was trying to make sense of like why she was just so like, this is his best album, like why she was so hyped. And she was like, because like, it reminds me of Take Care. Some of these R&B songs remind me of Take Care. And like, I love that album. And then I heard other people say the rapping reminds me of Nothing, like some of the samples and like, produce reminds me of Nothing Was the Same.
This feels like a great hit. Like he's going back through his like.
Yeah, I agree.
So
and his wardrobe.
He did that well. So that was Drake's goal. He did it, You know
what makes me feel like it's a greatest hit too? Remember the trailer for this album earlier this year? It was just like a reenactment of all his. No, that was a fire trailer. Remember, it was just a reenactment of all his different covers, essentially. So it's like, hey, I'm bringing the Nothing Was the Same Drake back. I'm bringing So Far Gone Drake back. I'm bringing, whatever Drake. He's bringing all the Drakes back, essentially. And you're right. This plays like a greatest hits album. Every version of Drake.
If that's the goal, right?
He did it.
I just wish he had a couple songs that included the next Drake. Like, I'm going to give you all of these old versions of me, then give you a little, here's what else I can do.
I think we're stuck at good right now. Like, since 2016, we've been stuck at good. And that's cool with me. And it's obviously like, and I think all of your criticisms are valid. They're just not how I feel. And I just think we've been stuck at good for 5 years now. So
yeah. And will good always be enough is the question.
I don't know.
Well, considering Drake sold more records than he did before, despite the change of the bundling rule. Y'all remember, y'all know how stupid I feel? I was on this pod talking 3 weeks ago. Oh, but they changed the bundle rule, so Drake may not sell the way he sells.
Drake's gonna do 650.
And Drake came in and is about to do 600K first week.
It's also like, he obviously has bars on here about rapping about like, calling himself the GOAT. But I think to your point, like, do you think Drake is actually like concerned with being the greatest of all time?
Yes, bro. I think Drake and Kanye are the same, are different sides of the same coin. I think they're both kind of like narcissists. I think they're both egotistical.
Oh, for sure, absolutely.
And I think Drake achieves that, like that feeling. He strokes that part of his ego by making hits that he knows will give him more hits than the Beatles, that will put him up there, give him these achievements that won't be hit by anyone else. He's the artist of the decade. I think that means something to him. My problem is I think he's gotten too comfortable in relying on just that. And I don't know if that'll be enough.
Yeah, I mean, we have to see. I mean, Drake on this album say he's the GOAT. Kanye on Donda has used the word GOAT. They both think they're the GOAT. And but
I mean, they both have claim to that title, but they both have
for different reasons. For different reasons for them.
They both have like, their
Arguments.
own reasons to try and claim it. Which,
arguments.
Whatever, fine. But
whatever, fine. Yeah, exactly.
Like who cares? But but at the same time, like I said, we're just stuck in good right now. And
I'm with
like
you.
If
so
Drake wants to do
like
Afrobeat, I want him to go to Africa and film a Black is King type of project.
He should have
Drake wants to lean into
just gave that song to
Houston, Texas Southern rap, and I want him to go there and make a visual album a la Beyonce. I just want more from Drake. I want us to expect more from Drake.
I think we have a good range here of opinions of like. Of this is how generally people are just feeling with the album, where Nnamdi can recognize like it's fine, but also like I'm tired of hearing this, and
that's reflective of what exactly. It's reflective.
Avery's like I'm not tired yet. Like
I'm not tired of it.
I think a lot of people feel that. Like I do think I'm in the like. I think critically you're
in the majority.
I'm in the majority, but as far as just your everyday, like I'm absolutely in the minority. People are enjoying this album.
I'm somewhere in the middle.
Drake broke a record.
I'm just somewhere in the middle.
But let me say, y'all, I do think it's noteworthy, very noteworthy. That tweet that from was it Rolling Stone, first and second day streams. I don't have it in here, sorry. But it was first and second day streams, Donda versus CLB, and CLB had huge first day numbers, like 153 million, and then day two it like chopped in half.
89.
Meanwhile, Kanye was the opposite. He had like okay for day one numbers, but it jumped like 30% day two. And I think that tells you everything about how people consume their music. Everyone goes to Drake for the hype because that is Drake. They're going to listen to a Drake album because it's Drake. Kanye, you need some convincing. Yeah, you have to find out it's good and then go in. But once you find out, I think you stay. Because, let me ask you guys a question. Sorry, one last question for both of you. Donda and CLB were very often kind of blasted as being long and directionless. Is there one that you think is more long and directionless than other? Now, they're both long. I know Donda is physically longer, but does one feel more cohesive than the other, despite these being two long, shorter, directionless albums?
Honestly, no. Like, to me, both these albums occupy similar space. Like, they're both long. Sometimes they both drone on. They both have like some really nice hits on there. They both have some of the best rapping either of them have done in a while. And I don't know, that to me they're just like very similar. They put out like, I think both could have done better. So.
I mean, y'all know how I feel about long albums. It's very, very difficult to make a long, like, especially we're talking about, like, these are extremely long, not like hour, 10 minutes, hour 5. These are hour, 30 minutes plus. Like, these are ridiculously
they're playlist long.
Exactly. These are ridiculously long. These albums are as long as our playlist, like 200 songs. I'm joking, not literally. But like, these are ridiculously long albums, and I'm with Avery. It's just super difficult to not have, dry spots and spots where like the song's dragging on for too long. This didn't need to be there. This song didn't need to be in it. It's gonna happen. There's very few albums that can be an hour, 40 minutes and just have you there the whole time. I mean, some people it works, but just for me.
What kind of frustrates me about it is that I think these albums are similar in like quality wise, and like Donda wasn't even finished. Like I want to think like what would have happened if like Kanye had finished Donda? Like he had.
I'm still not convinced.
But that just speaks to like, because some people like Nnamdi, he just loves it. That just speaks how Nnamdi feels about these projects. Because
honestly, I don't even think these are of similar quality. I'm not gonna lie to you.
I know you don't. Yeah,
that's fair. That's fair. So
I realize that may be,
Yeah. So
I won't say that out loud.
Yeah, I feel you. So final thoughts, scores.
Can I just shout out that I think Get Along Better is the best R&B track on here? Hot take.
Get Along Better is toxic as heck.
It's so toxic, but it's like that's the Drake people fell in love with.
I agree with you. But the best R&B track to me is Pipe Down.
Pipe Down's really good.
Pipe Down's the best R&B track. And I have to say this too, also, like, since the Kid Cudi track, it's terrible. I'm sorry, it's terrible. The song's terrible. People were hyping it up saying, oh my gosh, Kid Cudi had one of the best features. He sounds bad. Kid Cudi sounds like he on the moon. He sounds like he on the moon. Okay. That song was not good. I didn't like any of it at all. Sorry.
I guess In Too Deep is the R&B song I like the most.
Into Deep. Is that is that the one where he has the beat changes and he starts rapping different, or is that Erase My Mind? Is that Erase My Mind? Is Erase My Mind where the track the beat changes?
I think it's on
rapping?
Both. He does it.
He does it both. He does it both. I like. Yeah. So
he does on
I
TSU.
wrote on my notes. I was like, by the time I got to the middle of N2 Deep, I was over it. I was kind of ready for
I'm literally debating changing it, like going into Audition and cutting it in half for my own listening.
Two different songs and delete one.
No, just scrapping the first half and only keeping the second.
Oh, gotcha.
It's so hard.
You can do that in Apple Music. You can do that in Apple Music, start the song here.
Yeah, I want to do that.
Yeah,
that's awesome. But we haven't even gotten to, I think the worst part of Drake and Kanye's beef, I think we can all agree, is that we could have had Andre 3000 on Donda and CLB, and we don't have him on any. Well, and I think that'll be the most hard. If you don't know the story, God, Drake apparently released during a radio event thing that
OVO radio
thing. Apple. He somehow obtained the power of Drake, a diss track that Kanye West recorded, I guess targeting Drake. And on this diss track contained a feature to Andre 3000. And I say it that way because Andre 3000 did not know he was going to be on a diss track, but he was. And Drake leaked a pretty good diss track against
it's kind of weird why he did this.
I'm still trying to put together the pieces of why Drake did it. I kind of thought maybe he planned on going nuclear on Kanye and just wanted to say it was because of this, but
at first I was like, it looks bad on both of them because Kanye's rapping about Drake on the song where Andre 3000 has this incredible verse about his
dead mother,
his deceased mother. But then I'm like, Kanye didn't even release the song, so
yeah. I mean, it's bad taste in both. Honestly, both sides. No side had any game. Drake released it.
I think Drake lost more than.
No, I agree.
Why did Drake do this?
They both.
Because why did you do this?
Drake released it because it's oh, Kanye did diss me, but it's okay, but Andre 3000.
You got 3 songs on your album about.
But then
Kanye.
Why did Kanye put Andre? Because Andre 3000 thought it was going to be for a different song, but then why did Kanye put him on a song where he's talking about his dead mother and Drake's talking about? And Kanye's talking about Drake. It's stupid.
I think Kanye changed his verse. This is supposed to be about Donda. Andre said that the song was about our moms, but I cursed in my verse, so I couldn't have it on the album.
It's such a beautiful verse.
Okay, he cursed. But why did he just blank him out? Oh, see, that's what.
No, I don't think. But you have to. I don't think Andre 3000 wanted.
He wanted those words in there.
Because I think he says it didn't work. I don't think Kanye is the one who was you're off the album. I think Andre was I don't want a clean. It was clear to me that an edited clean format of the verse would not work without having the raw original also available. So sadly, it had to be omitted from the original album release. So it seems like it was more so his choice.
Honestly,
also, he says at the bottom here, hopefully I can work with Kendrick on his album. Please.
Yeah, my thing is why is Andre 3000 begging to work with y'all? This is Andre 3000. What are we doing? I wanted to be on Certified Lover Boy too. I just want to work with people that inspire me.
I want him. Can we please get someone find the Starbucks that
he had to ask
y'all and ask him to be on your album, please?
How about you do some work with Outkast, huh? How about that?
Or a solo album.
Cool. How about that? Or a solo album?
No, that's true. Are him and Big Boy still beefing? Is that a thing?
No, I don't think so.
Big Boy just came out with an album.
Why don't we have another Outkast album?
They're not beefing.
Big Boy released the whole verse, I think, on Twitter by itself. Yeah.
But that always happens though. Whenever Andre 3000 gets to this, I thought anytime all the attention's on Andre 3000, that Big Boy is hey, look.
I don't think they. I don't think they're beefing. I think that's people just talking. Them dudes,
this is the lamest beef I've ever seen, by the way.
That's lame. It's a lame beef.
This is a horrible.
Yeah. Oh, Silver's that great piece. When someone said we deserve more from this beef, and we did. Think about what we got out of the Jay-Z and Nas beef, and think about working out of this.
Should have ended with the Pusha T thing.
Just somebody going at each other. Just going
the
go at
Drake
each other.
Meek Mill beef was way better than this.
Oh my god, and that wasn't even that great. So
it wasn't even that great. It wasn't. It was one sided.
Back to back.
Yeah, exactly.
Yeah, we got a great song out of that.
We got seven. We got
the story of Abaddon, which is where it should have left. That's where it should have ended.
But then we also got W Freestyle, which was a great track too. That was a great disc too.
Good.
So
that gets lost just because of the Pusha T thing. But
Pusha T thing just murdered him. So
do we have final thoughts?
Yeah, I'll go first because I feel like you two have more
thing. Do a score too.
Oh, yeah, let's keep it concise. Nice clip here.
Yeah, for sure. More compelling. I've said this already. This is just the best version of the last couple of Drake albums for me. And that's fine for me. There's a lot of songs I can go back to and find enjoyment out of, and I think that's fine. Not amazing, not great, solid. So I'm gonna give this a 6.5.
Do you want to go or do you want me to go first?
You go ahead, Avery.
Okay.
I'm doing my project of the week. I'm sorry.
You didn't have to say that.
I almost completely agree with everything Noah said. I think I just have a little bit of a better score. Like, I think it's a good album. It's not great. It's not bad. I'm cool with it. I got what I wanted out of it. I wish there were a few more bangers on it, but I think a lot of the R&B tracks are really good as well. So I'm just gonna go with a nice 7.
Yeah, and I ditto to everything you guys just said. My point remains the same. We need to expect more from Drake. This is a good Drake album, but that's just not enough for me anymore. So I'm going to also give this a 6.5.
Oh, that's a lot better than I thought you were gonna go.
Yeah, me too.
I mean, it's a good Drake album. It's just not good enough.
What's a 6.5?
That's a 6.666.
Oh,
No.
wow! And he's a 6
God.
Wow.
I think that's a good score. I think that's what he's around.
Just to avoid the 3 6s there.
Yeah,
exactly.
Round up a little bit.
But that makes sense. I think that is a very, very reasonable score for this album.
I agree.
So the 97 demo official score for Certified Lover Boy by Drake, a 6.67 out of 10. Do you agree? Let us know in the comments or DM us.
I really want to know what
something
people
different.
think of this album. I want to know what our listeners think of this album.
I do too, because
I do too.
For me, Drake can't get another like above an 8 until he like does something different now. Like seriously, like I really don't think he can get like above an 8 until he does something exceptionally different.
What would you guys have given Scorpion? I know it may be hard to remember, but what do you think?
A 6.
I think I would have given it a 6.5 too. I'm not gonna lie to you.
I can't give it 6.5.
Honestly, I'd probably give it a 7 as well.
I would have given it a 6 because that second half, that first half is great actually, but the second half
drags on.
It's too much of a drop off. It's too much of a drop off. The quality of the second half is too much of a drop off.
I still think Drake's best album is Hiding inside of Scorpion.
It is.
I think you say that about a lot of the Drake projects.
Yeah, you're right.
Drake has several classics hiding in these.
Can Drake drop a short album? Can we manifest that?
I'm not.
He's not going to, but
if Drake is doing the long albums just because he wants to, to milk it streaming wise and hit the numbers, or if he's doing it because he doesn't always know what the right 13 songs are.
He just has too many crowds he feels like he has too many crowds to appease, and but that's why I think nothing was the same.
Drake album? If Drake took Scorpion and literally made it More Life, because that's probably more variety, and separate it into a pop, little 7-track pop album in spring, and then a 12-track, hard rapping album in November. You don't think the streets would have been cool with that?
Has he ever dropped an album in October? That feels like.
Yeah,
I don't know why I feel like Take Care came out in October. That may be wrong. I
didn't. I don't think it did.
It was either October or November, because I remember getting
OVO is October's very own. Why is it?
Oh, November 15th. Okay. Yeah.
Drake, what are you doing? Drake.
I think that's a fair question.
Yeah, but I like our score. I think we were fair.
I really enjoyed our scores as of recent.
Yeah, I mean, I think we've been fair. I think we're just being fair. We're just judging the music. It's really simple. We're just judging the music. I mean, we have all these other thoughts about Drake, but we're just judging the music, and I think we're fair. I don't think any of our points are invalid. You know what I'm saying? So
we're very fair critics.
I agree.
We're not even critics. Sorry, we listen to music and talk about
fans.
It. No one pays us. We're fans. Yes, much better. Okay, well, let's move on to what else we have going on today. Our Billboard highlights. As you can imagine, Drake is expected to score the biggest sales week this year, about 604,000 copies first week, which will be the best we've seen this year. Yeah. I'm not sure we should be surprised. We already know that Certified Lover Boy broke the Apple Music and Spotify, I believe, all-time single-day streaming records. He set the record, I'm pretty sure, for at least Spotify. So, I'm talking all this stuff about we need to raise the bar, and look at what Drake's getting. So maybe I told you I'm in the minority with that. I get it. So that's what we're getting. You'll get this week by the time this episode drops. In the week that's passing, it was all about Kanye West on the Hot 100 and the Billboard 200. On the Hot 100, he got 23, if my tracks are right, 23 out of the 26 songs on Donda.
That sounds right.
23 out of the 26 songs on Donda charted on here. 7 or 8 were in the top 10. I mean, top 20. And
if it's that Hurricane is the highest.
Yeah, the highest speaking one is Hurricane. I'm mad about Jail was second place. I think that was at number like 11. But yeah,
Praise God. Which one was Praise God?
I don't even know, dog.
I want to say
the fact
praising.
The fact that Nnamdi doesn't even know says everything we need to say about that album right there. The
I
fact
would know
that
it
we
if I
can even
clicked it.
differentiate.
No, these
The
other
fact-
ones I can place, but
Yeah, Junior Junior, I liked.
yeah.
Junior
Off the
at
Grid, I like.
16, Moon at 17, Off the Grid at 11.
Jail at 10.
Oh,
Jail
Family
at
Ties
10.
is on there. Wait, it's Family
Yeah.
Ties is on there.
18.
Family
Good for
Ties
Baby
debuted at
Keem.
number 18. Baby Keem and Kendrick Lamar. I wonder if this is the highest debut for Baby Keem. I wouldn't be
Probably.
surprised.
It has to.
It has to be, right?
Yeah,
Well, he had another song that was like TikTok famous.
yeah, was that the orange soda?
Yeah, I think Orange Soda.
Yeah.
Oh, okay. So
Maybe that might have gotten
higher
higher.
well.
So
So that's what we have here. We had a couple other debuts. I'm honestly surprised that we even have access to. Sorry, never must read off shit on camera. But over on the Billboard 200. I didn't update this link. Avery, could you just go to?
Yeah, just keep going, bro.
Over on the Billboard 200, we also have Donda ruling. He debuted at number 1, and it's funny. Before Drake, I believe Kanye had the biggest release. I want to say 520.
yeah, and like a full week because he released on a short week.
That was
On the
the full week was 525, but the single week was like 304.
Yeah, which is still incredible. Yeah, which is still
But it's still huge. It's Kanye's highest numbers, I want to say, since The Life of Pablo. And honestly, this may have sold more than The Life of Pablo. I'm not exact. I don't remember exactly, but I think almost pretty sure it did. So I mean, this was a win for Kanye. I think he got pretty good numbers. Not as good as what Drake will be next week, but in all fairness, there's not anyone right now in rap who could beat Drake. So take that as you will. And Halsey debuted at number 2 with If I Can't Have Love, I Want Power. I didn't listen to this, but apparently it's a concept album about like the pain and joy of pregnancy and labor, I think. So
Wow.
Yeah. Interesting.
So project of the week. I changed this mid-show. I originally had Donda. I'm not gonna lie to you, but then I was like, we have so many Donda songs on that playlist. What else did I listen to? I was like, Kids See Ghosts. This was
It's an amazing album.
It's incredible.
I'm trying to see if I want to say what I'm going to say. I think I can. I want to say Kids See Ghosts is my favorite album of Kanye's since My Beautiful Dark Twisted Fantasy.
I agree.
It's first 5. I don't include it in the Donda discourse because oftentimes we're talking about like a solo release. But as far as just generally speaking, I think Kids See Ghosts is everything I wanted Kanye to stick to with Donda. Like a refined album, perfect amount of tracks. Every track is like a punch. It like everything hits like amazing. And Kid Cudi, God, and they're really good at collaborating. Kanye knows how to make Kid Cudi's voice and hums, how to produce that so well.
Also, a beautiful album cover.
Yes, I would love to have the vinyl for this.
Yeah, the album cover is creepy and I love it.
It's after these past 2 album covers we just got from Drake and Kanye, just feels like
we didn't bash this album. Avery, we didn't bash Drake's album cover enough.
You're right.
Actually, Noah, you didn't bash Drake's album. Wait, Noah, really quick, before you tell us yours, is it corny or brilliant? What did you decide by the end of your newsletters?
Brilliant.
Which was titled
Drake album cover is corny or brilliant. I determined brilliant. I mean, I said the
they're brilliant because they're corny, right?
It brilliant. It kind of that's.
Or are they brilliantly corny?
Both, all of the above. This album is creepy to look. This album cover is creepy to look at. Certified Lover Boy. The anime cover, I told Avery, it's creepy. It's like the women moving.
Eyes blinking. They're blinking.
They're blinking. It's creepy as heck. But this is the worst one out of all the Drake covers. Easily the worst. The second worst to me. The second worst to me is Views. That's the second worst to me. But
not Scorpion. Not bad. I don't know why y'all be hating on these. Views was cool.
Scorpion. If it's just a picture of somebody, I really don't hate because it's a good.
And like Scorpion was way worse than Views. Are you kidding me?
At least Views was like memeable. Scorpion's just like
Scorpion was a picture, and it wasn't that that good of a picture.
Yeah, he like signed it too.
I got you, but that's cooler to me than like
interesting.
The freaking Drake. It was super.
I respectfully disagree.
And my favorite one, like I said, is Nothing Was the Same. That work by Kadir Nelson is incredible.
That is incredible.
I love Take Care.
His best cover.
I love Take
Care. I love Take Care. Take Care.
Yeah, that's a classic. But
it's like rich and moody, which is.
But in terms of sheer like what it looks like, quality, like how artistic it is, Nothing Was the Same was the best. That's just me. My project of the week. Speaking of album covers, I love this one. The House Is Burning by Isaiah Rashad. I mean, you already heard what we talked about at the beginning of this podcast. We went to a show I've listened to all week. I felt good about, while I was at the show, like I feel like I knew most of the words. So, but House is Burning, Isaiah Rashad. I love this album even more. I might have to take a break because every time I hear a song, my ears are gonna be ringing. But yeah, Isaiah Rashad.
Did you get all the
House is
lyrics
Burning.
right at the show?
Pretty much, but we were pretty much screaming. I couldn't hear myself.
Yeah,
so.
that's fair.
But it was pretty great. So yeah, Isaiah Rashad, The House is Burning. So I had like one track from here because we already got a couple tracks in the playlist. So yeah.
Mine is Ventura by Anderson .Paak. This was like the second album here. It felt like Lucy's from Oxnard.
That's fair.
But this album's, I mean, Anderson .Paak's Lucy's are better than your favorite artist song. So it's incredible.
That's how you feel?
That's how I feel. This album is
great.
Freaking beautiful.
I'm
Speaking of
over
Andre 3000, amazing verse on Come Home. There's King James on here. There's an amazing Nate. If we want to talk about
Nate Dogg
posthumous verses,
rest in peace, Nate Dogg. Yeah.
Anderson .Paak might have done it the best on here with Nate Dogg. So
You're right.
this is just a beautiful album.
We got some groovy project of the weeks. Like we got some like vibey, like Kitsy Ghost is like vibey-ish on a creepy level. House is Burning vibes all the way around, and Anderson .Paak is vibes too. So
Good job.
Isaiah Rashad and Anderson .Paak need to work together.
They should.
That'd be a great track.
And Anderson .Paak's working with everybody. Honestly.
Yeah, you're right.
So,
He can elevate anybody.
Yeah, I agree. He's a cheat code. So
He really is.
yeah.
But you
So
guys, this has been a long, nice episode. We got to review Drake, and we gave it 6.7. So thank you guys for listening, watching that.
yeah,
We're going to post this episode, so be sure to follow, tell your friends about it, share, read our newsletter, which is we're everywhere. Stream us on all of our different platforms: SoundCloud, Apple Music.
Do we want to tease a little bit what's to come next week?
An interview wherever we're continuing our Journey of a New Artist series. Name still tentative. And we're interviewing. I don't even want to say his name. We're interviewing an up and coming rapper based in Philadelphia. He's super talented, and we hope you guys join for that. For that conversation.
Yep.
So I think that's it from us. We'll see you next week.